I'm Aaron Porras, and thank you for joining us from our studios in Israel. Coming up in today's newscast, Israel closes down yet another massive Hamas terror tunnel. Prime Minister Netanyahu lands in India for a landmark state visit, and new Israeli research shows that gold could be the answer to cancer. Stay tuned for the latest news in Israel. Israel says that it has just totally destroyed a new terror tunnel believed to be used by Hamas in southern Gaza. Unlike past tunnels discovered and destroyed by the IDF, this one is astonishing in both its sophistication and build, and the fact that it extended hundreds of meters into Israel as well as into Egypt. This is the third terror tunnel destroyed by Israel in as many months. Perhaps not so ironically, the tunnel ran underneath Kerem Shalom crossing, where hundreds of trucks cross in and out of Gaza every day, carrying humanitarian supplies. The IDF shut down the Kerem Shalom checkpoint in order to launch its operation. Unlike past tunnel demolitions, Israeli jets pummeled the tunnel inside Gaza borders from above. Though Hamas denies the tunnel was used for terror, Israeli intel says otherwise, especially considering it extended all the way into Egypt, where weapons could easily be smuggled through.
צה"ל תקף הערב תשתית טרור מרכזית של החמאס ברצועת עזה. יש מי שאומר שצה"ל תוקף טיונות של חול, זה לא נכון. אנחנו מגיבים על התקיפות נגד מדינת ישראל, אנחנו עושים את זה בתקיפה מאוד שיטתית של התשתיות שמכוונות נגדנו, והחמאס צריך להבין שלא נרשה את המשך ההתקפות הללו ושנגיב בעוצמה עוד יותר גדולה.
Top IDF officials confirmed that this was, quote, a significant asset, and even say that more tunnel demolitions are on the way. Israeli Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman has perhaps said it best, though, saying, quote, the message to the leader of Gaza and its citizens is clear. Invest in the sanctity of life and not in digging your own catacombs, end quote. Despite repeated criticism and promises to withdraw the United States from the Iran nuclear deal, President Trump has just re-signed the waiver, officially keeping the deal alive. Iran is hailing this as a victory over the United States, but Trump himself says that this is the last time he'll sign the deal unless it can be fixed before the next deadline.
یکی دو هفته اخیر آمریکایی‌ها در دو بخش دچار شکست بزرگ شدند. یک بخش اونجا که خواستند در برابر افکار عمومی جهان بایستند و تعهدات بین المللی را زیر پا بگذارند.
Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has been one of the few world leaders to join Trump in condemning the deal, claiming that Iran has violated the spirit of the agreement. The deal lifts economic sanctions on Iran in exchange for Tehran agreeing to halt its nuclear development program. But Israeli leaders say Iran is determined to develop nuclear weapons by any means necessary. Intelligence has indeed suggested Iran may still be pursuing its nuclear program, but United Nations watchdogs have so far been unable to find any such evidence. Iran remains one of Israel's fiercest enemies, consistently funding terror against the Jewish state, and a nuclear-armed Iran would definitely be the culmination of Israel's biggest fears. But the majority of the world's leaders say the nuclear deal is the only thing that's kept Iran from becoming a North Korea, which did develop nuclear weapons despite international sanctions.
The only reason why the Trump administration is still in the Iran nuclear deal, is still a part of the Iran nuclear deal, is because the entire rest of the world, except for Israel and Saudi Arabia, have told the Trump administration, if you leave the deal, you will be isolated. So what they're trying to do is figure out a way to stay in the deal long enough while making sure that Iran does not get the economic benefits so that it forces Iran to walk away, so that they can blame Iran for the deal's failure, rather than America getting the blame.
Netanyahu and Trump, however, argue that that's exactly what will happen if the deal remains in its current form. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has just landed in India, the first official visit of an Israeli leader to the country in 15 years. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi actually surprised Netanyahu by being there on the tarmac to greet him with a hug, kicking off a week-long visit to boost economic ties between the two countries.
הערב אני יוצא לביקור היסטורי בהודו. אני אפגוש שם את ראש הממשלה, ידידי נרנדרה מודי, את נשיא הודו, מנהיגים רבים אחרים. אנחנו נחתום על הרבה מאוד הסכמים, ואנחנו מחזקים את הקשר בין ישראל למעצמה העולמית החשובה הזאת. זה משרת אותנו בביטחון, בכלכלה, בסחר, בתיירות ובהרבה מאוד תחומים אחרים. זו ברכה גדולה מאוד למדינת ישראל.
This historic visit brings the largest entourage of representatives from Israel's agriculture, cybersecurity, defense, health, and food industries in the country's history, promising all kinds of new business ties between Israel and the world's second most populated country. Notably absent from the entourage, however, is the Prime Minister's son Yair. The young Netanyahu is currently embroiled in a large public scandal after recordings of him taken outside a strip club 2 years ago leaked to media, containing derogatory remarks about women and boasts of a $1 billion gas deal allegedly made for the father of a friend. The Prime Minister has defended his son's apology and attacked the media's publishing of the tape just moments before his flight, saying, quote, "Think how you would feel if your children had been trampled with endless cruelty, wickedness, and hypocrisy," end quote. Regardless, the 130-person delegation will now begin a full week of meetings, business deals, and gatherings, which will even include a new joint production deal bringing Bollywood productions to the Holy Land. Joining us now in the studio for a deeper look at Prime Minister Netanyahu's India visit is former Israeli ambassador to multiple countries, including Mexico and New Zealand, Ambassador Yosef Livne. Thank you very much for coming back in.
My pleasure.
All right, so my first thing is, Netanyahu has just gone with a very large delegation at his back. What kinds of deals and agreements can you expect to come out of this trip?
Well, I think that the size and the scope of the delegation reflects the importance of India on the world scene, especially for Israel. I mean, as the Prime Minister himself said, it's a world power with multiple opportunities in agriculture, in high-tech, in many other fields. And I think that the fact that so many people joined the delegation reflects the awareness and the recognition in Israel that we have an opening that we should do whatever we can to take advantage of.
So that actually brings me to my next question: is who gets to decide who goes on who joins this delegation? Because you just said a lot of people wanted to be on this trip to India. Do you say that as opposed to other trips?
No, I think that in most cases, in most countries, when a prime minister or president travels abroad, usually you have a trade delegation tagging along, especially when you know that there is an opportunity to develop the prospects of trade deals. Now, I don't know exactly how it works, but I'm certain that the Prime Minister's office lets people know, look, there's going to be a visit, and there will be so many places on the plane, on the delegation, and then people have to work their way, convince whoever needs to be convinced of the importance, why they should be there on the plane or in the delegation. But I heard this afternoon, someone saying that he was going, I think he's the head of the Israel-Indian Chamber of Commerce. He's still here, he's going overseas tomorrow night, I think. So, yeah,
so it looks like their delegation might even grow.
Yeah.
Okay, so now another thing that I wanted to kind of get back to in our last minute here is that Netanyahu has often called Narendra Modi a friend. They seem to be very, they had a warm embrace there when he landed, but it's a very political thing to call other leaders around the world your friend, when in reality, how many friendships really exist in the executive level? So my question is, how friendly are we really beneath the surface when we have them voting against us at the UN, for example, or, et cetera?
Look, I think that we have to put everything in perspective. I mean, the vote on Jerusalem was something that was painful, in a way. But relations between countries have multiple strata. So you have the political, you have the economic, you have the cultural, and you have so many other issues. Of the over 100 countries that voted against the U.S. and Israel, there were many countries with whom we have very friendly relations
So you're saying it's...
on other issues.
So that's kind of just like, leave
I don't
that
know.
be,
It
that's
must
not-
have. Look, you'd love. I'm sure that everybody would have loved India to abstain or to be absent.
Sure.
But it's a country that has interests in Israel as well as in other places.
It takes those all into account.
Exactly.
All right. Ambassador Yosef Livnit, thank you very much for coming back in.
Thank you.
All right. Now, fresh clashes have again taken a violent turn in the West Bank. The Israeli army has now used crowd dispersal measures to calm Palestinian protesters, rallying for the release of Ahed Tamimi, the 16-year-old Palestinian girl who was filmed slapping IDF soldiers in an apparent attempt to capture a violent reaction from them on tape. Tamimi, her cousin, and her mother were all arrested last month after footage of the incident went viral, eliciting fierce debate on both sides of the issue. Some Israelis championed the army for acting professionally and not responding with violence, while other Israelis feel that the army looked weak by not fighting back. But Palestinians say Tamimi is a hero for taking a stand against Israeli occupation forces. Tamimi herself testified in court that she slapped the soldier after witnessing him shoot her young cousin in the head with a rubber bullet. Photos of the cousin have since also gone viral, which shows the young boy horribly scarred and injured in the face. Tamimi and her mother remain in jail weeks after they were arrested. Although the judge says Tamimi poses no danger, the teenager must remain in jail for fear that she might obstruct the investigation. Palestinians argue that jailing a teenager who poses no danger is an abuse of justice, which is why these rallies for her release have been ramping up every week. There will be another hearing tomorrow to determine whether or not Tamimi will be released prior to her trial, where she will stand accused of assault charges. The IDF's airstrike against a Hamas terror tunnel in Gaza is only the latest escalation between Israel and the terror group. Though neither side seems eager to start a war at this time, both are fully willing. And an accidental spark is all it would take to ignite an all-out conflict. ILTV's Brett Allen Smith is here with the details on this. Brett?
Thanks, Aaron. Well, tensions have definitely been escalating, but at the same time, it also kind of feels like everyone's just treading water and waiting for the dam to burst at this point. Because look, by now we're all very used to how this cycle goes, right? I mean, a group fires rockets at Israel, Israel retaliates against Hamas, Hamas rallies its base, and we see fresh clashes, even fatalities along the Gaza border.
It's endless.
But this may be taking us to a very dangerous place because remember, even if other terror groups are behind those attacks, Hamas takes the punishment and Israel hits very hard. So at some point they'll have to kind of say, look, enough is enough and start a war they may not even want just to keep face.
All right, well, I mean, that kind of, again, it begs the question, how else could this go if not war, if not violence? You know, how else, the dam, as you called it, how else would it burst at this point?
Well, diplomatically speaking, the Palestinians are at a major crossroads right now, and that includes Hamas. The PLO actually invited Hamas to a meeting to discuss its new strategy, and Hamas turned them down, probably because at this point they need to remain independent in case the ongoing reconciliation efforts don't work out. So there's obviously a lot of moving parts firing at once right now. Why don't we go ahead and take a look at the rest of the details in my report.
All right.
With Palestinian reconciliation still a big question mark, Hamas finds itself between a rock and a hard place. On one hand, the terror group has been trying to calm rogue jihadis in Gaza from sparking a war with Israel, but on the other hand, the group knows it must retaliate against Israel for fear of looking weak, a dangerous line that could erupt in war at any time.
إسرائيل عندما تقول أنها تضرب بمخازن أسلحة وأنفاق استراتيجية، هذا يعني أنها تحدث تآكل في احتياطي القوة لدى المقاومة، وبالتالي أنت تتحدث عن تآكل هنا وتآكل هناك. إلى متى ستحتمل الأطراف هذا التآكل؟ هذا سؤال كبير. المسألة الثانية أنه يمكن لصاروخ يسقط بالخطأ أو طائرة إسرائيلية تضرب مكان ما بالخطأ يحدث إصابات أو يعني ضحايا لدى أي من الجانبين، وبالتالي هذا سيكون مدعاة لانفجار دون أن تحسب الأطراف حسابات لها.
This is why Hamas's rhetoric has only strengthened in recent months, especially after President Trump's bombshell Jerusalem announcement, already seen as a major turning point in the Middle East conflict.
استمرار هذا الحصار ومعاقبة 2 مليون فلسطيني في القطاع سوف يكون له تداعيات. لا يمكن أن تقبل الفصائل الفلسطينية والأذرع العسكرية وأيضا أبناء وأهالي قطاع غزة باستمرار هذا الوضع الكارثي والمأساوي.
The PLO has just convened in Ramallah to discuss the new Palestinian strategy in the wake of the Jerusalem announcement, a meeting that Hamas actually removed itself from despite a rare invite from the PLO leaders, likely to maintain its freedom to act independently on the matter. Israelis living along the border have become accustomed to the tension, but even still, these past few weeks have not been easy.
We are ready all the time, but we are always getting ready, we are always being prepared, but lately we do feel that there are more presence of the army, that there are more activity going on. We've been told to be more careful, to prepare the bomb shelter just in case.
PLO says it may consider revoking its recognition of Israel moving forward in establishing a Palestinian state. If this indeed were to happen, a new era of instability and violence would be only too likely to follow.
Now, while many in the international community continue to criticize and demonize the Jewish state, Israeli companies are still hard at work trying to save the world. And one company is doing so by trying to tackle maybe the biggest challenge to human survival, dirty, undrinkable water. So here now in the studio with more is Yehuda Kaplun, the president of WaterGen USA. Thank you so much for coming in.
Pleasure, thank you.
All right, so tell me, first of all, tell us a little bit about WaterGen and what it does.
WaterGen is a very unique and revolutionary technology that has been produced in Israel, and it allows the ability to create water, drinking water from the air.
So, like just from the thin air?
From the thin air. It uses the water, it cleans the air, it produces water, and has the ability to really change areas around the globe that have difficulties with water.
Wow. I mean, how did you come up with this technology? Because it sounds like a very simple idea, like one of those things that everybody would have done if they could have.
Well, I didn't come up with the technology, but a group of Israeli creative people came up with the technology, and they've developed it over the years. Right. And it has many applications, from hospitals to drinking water. We were involved in...
I see you, apparently on tanks as well.
Correct, on tanks. We were involved with Houston in the rescue efforts for FEMA. We were involved in Miami after the hurricane, producing water.
How big is an individual unit, and how much water does it produce in a given time?
There are three types of units. There's a medium unit, which produces about 450 to 600 liters a day. There's a larger unit that produces about 6,000 liters a day. And coming soon will be a home unit that produces about 15 liters a day.
And is there any sort of, what is the byproduct of this, if there is any? It takes moisture out of the air.
It cleans the air. The only byproduct makes the air cleaner. So absolutely, there isn't a problem with the product with any residual effect. It actually does something and cleans the air.
Wow. All right. So my last thing, where do we get it?
You get it by buying our units from either in Israel, or we have manufacturing facilities in America and in other countries. We're currently involved with Vietnam, in India, in America, in Mexico, Brazil. There are many countries that we're working currently with, and we have many requests from other countries, Russia. Other countries as well are all working with us. I mean, we are a solution for what really is a major problem, which is there's not enough clean drinking water.
Sure.
There may be water, but even in the United States, just take a look at Flint, Michigan, where there's lead in the water, or New York City public schools, and we're just working with them to provide the solution.
All right, well, Yehuda Kaplun, thank you so much from WaterGen USA. Thank you again for coming in.
You're very welcome.
All right. The United States has just rejected Israeli singer Amir Benayoun's request to enter the country. The singer was supposed to perform at the United Nations commemoration of Holocaust Remembrance Day, but officials say Benayoun did not properly demonstrate his intention to return to Israel after the show. Others speculate his controversial past may be the real reason for the rejection. Benayoun was invited to perform at the United Nations concert in New York City later this month, joined by two other Israeli singers for an original song called The Last Survivor. The performance was meant to be sung in Hebrew, English, and Arabic in memory of the victims of the Holocaust, but this was a concert bound for controversy from the very start. Benayoun's past songs have ignited fierce debate in Israel, accused by many as expressing racist, anti-Arab sentiments, and even inciting violence against that demographic. But as a top-selling artist, others say he merely performs songs that promote a nationalistic Jewish identity by mixing his personal politics with art. Benayoun was famously disinvited from a performance at President Reuven Rivlin's residence in 2014 because of his song Ahmed Loves Israel, the lyrics of which labels its fictitious Arab narrator as, quote, ungrateful scum. Several Israeli politicians actually begged the United Nations to reconsider its invite of Benayoun after his participation was first announced, leading many to suspect that his visa rejection may actually be related to his controversial past. The United States consulate, however, maintains that it's merely because he failed to meet the proper qualifications. The The winter holiday season may be over, but that doesn't mean that there are no reasons to go out and give someone you care about a personal, heartfelt gift. And with that said, if you're anything like me, sometimes just thinking of what to get can be a daunting task. And that's what my next guest today hopes to change. Here now is the CEO of Gift Wizard, Yair Miron. Thank you very much for coming in. So Gift Wizard, how does it help people find a gift?
So I see you're familiar with this problem. Basically, you want to buy someone a gift online, but you have no idea what he really wants or needs. You don't know the size, you don't know the color, and that could be very frustrating.
Yeah. So how does that solve this?
So Gift Wizard technology allows the buyer to send the gift instantly via email or text message, and the recipient of the gift can customize the size or the color before it ships. You can even exchange it to a gift card and buy whatever you want. So that's how you always send the perfect gift.
Sure. So I mean, so even if somebody then sends me, so let's say you're buying me a gift, which is very nice of you, thank you.
Deserve that.
Thanks. So yeah, so you send me a gift, and you say, okay, I want to get him a shirt. So it'll send me an email saying, Yair is sending you a shirt. What color and size do you want?
Yeah, and you know what? You might say, I didn't really want a shirt. I want earphones. And then you can just exchange it, get a gift card, go online and buy whatever you want.
Amazing. Okay, so who has Gift Wizard kind of partnered with? Where's this service already available?
So actually we work with more than 3,000 stores, including big names like Miami Heat, BuzzFeed, Kanye West, and a lot of big clients around the globe. Sure. And we keep expanding.
That's incredible. All right, so who is Gift Wizard mostly for? Like what companies will be putting this onto their platform?
So everyone with sells online, everyone that wants to sell more gifts, we help them to expand the gift sale. We help them to expand the number of gift recipients, and they should contact us on our Facebook page, on our website, giftwizard.co. We would love to help them to make their gift experience as best as it can be.
All right, Yair Miron from Gift Wizard, thank you so much. That's an incredible.
Thank you, Aaron. I should buy you another gift.
Oh, yeah. All right, thanks again for coming in. Thank you. All right, now it seems like every other week an Israeli medical firm comes up with another promising treatment for various cancers, but I don't think any ideas thus far have been quite so glamorous. A new study conducted at the Tel Aviv University of Medicine has now found that gold has the potential to fight cancer thanks to its ability to increase the intensity of radiation absorbed by tumors. Researchers targeted the focus of the study on cancers of the head and neck, as those are typically more resistant to traditional radiotherapy. Nearly 4% of all cancers in the United States are in the head and neck, with well over 65,000 such cases diagnosed in 2017 alone. Additionally, according to the head of the study, oncology professor Dr. Aaron Popitzer, some 40% of patients die even after receiving aggressive treatment. It was for this reason that the focus was done on these cancers. The new process goes like this. Researchers bind nanoparticles of gold to a drug commonly used on tumors. They then administer the drugs, which left a high concentration of gold on the tumor sites. And finally, the patient was hit with radiation, and Popitzer said that, quote, the presence of gold on the tumor enhanced the effect of the radiation, end quote. Even better, there were no dangerous or toxic levels of metal or gold content in the patient afterwards. With these promising results in mind, human trials are already now in planning stages. And now for our Hebrew word of the day. Whether you're looking at a sunset or the love of your life, there sure seems to be a lot of perfection around if you know where to look. And that's why today's word is mushlam, meaning perfect. With the word shalem, meaning whole, as its root, mushlam can refer to anything that feels complete or, gives you that warm, fuzzy feeling that everything is excellent. So if you can't find anything wrong with the picture you're looking at, then everything must be mushlam. Or when everything in your schedule falls perfectly into place, you can say eze mushlam, or how perfect. Just keep in mind that as in most things, mushlamut, or perfection, is in the eye of the beholder. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the weather forecast. Tonight should be clear to partly cloudy with little change in temperatures. The low is expected to be around 54 or 12 degrees Celsius. Tomorrow will be cloudy though, with a chance of scattered showers and a high of about 65 or 18 degrees Celsius. All right, that's it for today's news. Today's exchange rate is 3.39 shekels to the American dollar. Remember to sign up for our daily newsletter at iltv.tv, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook at Israel English News and on Twitter at ILTV News. I'm Aaron Porras, and thank you for watching.